Good morning, guys. So it was quite an interesting overnight session. We still have a bid in the markets here this morning. So some things I'm looking at right here. So we got this head and shoulders pattern we broke down here on ES futures. You can see the pattern with your moving averages here. So you can just draw a little trend line right at the bottom of that and looking for a back test, solid back test, which we just hit at the bottom of that trend line. So see, this is what we got going on right here, right now. Zoom in here in a 5 minute. You're coming right into the bottom of that trend line as we speak. So heads up on that going into today's session. So we're reaching, going into today's session, the bottom of the head and shoulders breakdown potential here. So heads up on that here on ES futures. We do have the CPI coming out here in a couple hours. And we also have a 30-year bond auction, $18 billion auction coming at 1 o'clock today. So a lot of things weighing on potentially on the markets today. So be aware of that scenario. In my opinion, we have satisfied uh, going into the news. We have satisfied any further upside. So we'll see what the reaction is after the news. We got a major amount of protection, put protection underneath the market right now. The biggest risk we have is that there's a massive gamma squeeze, and to destroy all of that derivative uh, uh, investment for this week, or for the next coming, well, this next few weeks. So yeah, that's the only problem is when you deal with options, when you get heavily loaded to one side, uh, you know, the uh, the powers that be in the markets, they these equities and stuff, they try to take that money back away from individual investors. These hedges are for insurance purposes only, and they want to keep those premiums in house. Okay, so we have that situation on the put side right now, to where if the powers that be want to push prices higher, they can just sit back and just reap the benefits from all the open put options we currently have floating in the markets right now. So heads up on that. So ultimately, if we make this is a head, shoulder, inverted head, make this the new shoulder. If we break out, we have a potential. If we break out above that with this measured move, that is projecting a price target all the way up. And if you want me to show you how this is done, you just go over here, fib extensions, okay, on that head, bring it up here to the top of your neckline. That's put now you're projecting a potential target of 4,500 on ES futures in the not so distant future. So be aware of that, because we've had this is such a big head. Now the projection for uh, a breakout move could be as high as 4,500 if this market continues to want to trek higher into the end of the year. Okay, other things I'm looking at here, Apple. So we had really good initial sales on the new iPhones and stuff, is very positive news that we had out here. So what am I looking here on Apple? So a head and shoulders. Okay. So basically we know, you could tell by the reaction to the EMAs right here. This here is acting as our support. You just put this right here. Okay. Somewhere through there looks pretty good. Yeah, that pretty, yep. And up to right about here. So it looks like to me we could have some more continuations today. Apple to the upside. If you zoom in here on a 15-minute, probably. We come down here. So it looks like to me we have a potential continuation move into my fib arcs, into our next resistance be 165.60. And then after that, yeah, if we could actually potentially close up here around the 166.50 today. So just keep that in mind there. We potentially that's about a 2% move, 1.5, 2% move to the upside into that upper part, here on Apple. So keep that one on your watch list here. So other things I'm looking at here, like Tesla right here. So we got a head and shoulders, okay, pattern right here. You can clearly see a pattern here. Type in our horizontal line right here. We are just trading in this pattern. We got two supports here. This is our shoulder area. Okay. Just barely, we're just barely trading. If you zoom in here on this, see this major trend support line here. So Tesla, we just continue, we're still just fighting the bottom of that line there. So we look below and we're still fighting the bottom of that line. So if the markets were to sell down today, I would be looking for Tesla to the short side. Well, not Tesla, that's AMD. AMD to the short side, I'm sorry. Why did I say Tesla? But AMD to the possible short side here. We had news out yesterday. Government came out with plans starting in October to curb semiconductor sales to China. So that hurt AMD and NVIDIA. So both of these are bearish chart patterns, looking for AMD to come all the way down to the $75 main support here in the not so distant future. Okay, Tesla's given us a sloppy head and shoulders. This right here is, possibly a shoulder right here. This is your head, okay, with a higher right shoulder for a potential back into the head. It's trying to poke itself back up into this head formation. Typically, we're right here, 304.42. We can get some mojo here. We could actually, get an explosive move back up in here, back up to this trend line. That's your main resistance. So on the bullish case, if Tesla were to get going here, you have a potential upside target into the 330, somewhere between the 335, 340 area, just this week. So keep that in mind here on Tesla for a possible explosive move to the upside if the markets were to continue higher. Another one I'm looking at here is Boeing. We have a potential head and shoulders pattern right here on Boeing with a lower right shoulder. So obviously here recently we've had some mojo coming out of Boeing. So if the markets were to continue higher, I'm looking for sometime this week a possible move up into the 161, 162 area for a hard test of the shoulder high. So I would like to see something like that, another real hard test before we start feeling, if we were to start reverting lower. We'll see what happens here. We are above our major support. We know that we don't want to go short until we get below the basically 157. So anything above 157, you want to be a swing long on Boeing, in my opinion. So in my opinion, there's a lot of risk off the CPI numbers coming this morning for us to get a downside profit taking. And then basically going into the 30-year bond auction. This is going to be our wild card right here with all the Fed talk that we've had going on here, and they have really been talking up interest rates. Are the bond markets going to perceive that is and actually do what they should be doing, and that's tanking here, given the news. So we'll see how that all pans out today. Typically, the bond markets tend to get it more right than the stock market. So be aware of that. It's smarter money trading the bond market. So this is a big worry this afternoon that the yields are going to get a big spike after that auction at 1 o'clock today. So be aware of that. So that is a bearish force too. So let's keep an eye on that going into today's session. I think they have achieved their goal to the upside, and the risk reward does look like we could get, I'm not saying a panic sell off, because there is so much insurance out there, but they can bring it back down here, and there, like I said, there's plenty of insurance out there, and there's just really no momentum to take it higher, and especially think about all these institutions putting this insurance on. It's in their best interest to just sit on hands after this data comes out and allow the markets to bleed lower because they've already paid for this insurance. So, just keep that in the back of your mind going forward here. So we'll see what happens here. I will trade whichever way sets up for us. Good luck, and I'll see you in the trading room.